start the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
With the new release of Metroid Prime 4, I've got a lot to talk about today. We're diving into everything: the $30 music paywall scam, the controversy surrounding the review scores, and of course my first impressions now that I finally have my hands on the game. But before I get into it, do me a favor, please hit that like button and hit the hype button. Make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell. Support like yours is what keeps channels like mine alive. It allows us to push back against greedy corporations, call out the toxic influencers who spend their days damage controlling for them, and most importantly, continue bringing you honest, real, not paid or sponsored game reviews. There are pricing tactics that make you roll your eyes, and then there's this. There are moments where a company stumbles, and then there are moments like this that make you question if they completely lost their mind. The background music is the heartbeat of a world, the soul of a scene, the oxygen that turns motion into emotion. And Nintendo, a company known for some of the most iconic soundtracks in gaming history, has decided that if you want music while you are traveling across the desert on that bike in Metroid Prime 4, well, that'll be an extra $30 please. Spend $30 on an amiibo, then you're allowed to hear a soundtrack in a game you already paid full price for. Let's just think about it for a moment. You're on a bike, there's no music, just the mechanical hum of a futuristic motor, the occasional crystal shattering, and the echoing silence of a massive lifeless desert, and then someone tells you, oh, it's not a bug, it's not a missing feature, it's not an oversight, it's intentional. You didn't pay enough for audio. Imagine going to the movie theater and the film starts and the entire soundtrack is muted, and the usher taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, if you'd like to hear the music, you can buy this plush toy for $30 and we'll unlock the soundboard. People would walk out and demand refunds. The world would collectively call that a scam. But for some reason, when Nintendo does it, suddenly we're all supposed to pretend that this is just fine. We're supposed to shrug our shoulders and act like this isn't one of the most absurd anti-consumer decisions the company has ever made. It's not cosmetic, it's not optional fluff. We're talking about the soundtrack, one of the most fundamental elements of immersion in Metroid's identity. One of the reasons fans fell in love with the series in the first place, and instead of proudly showcasing their audio achievement, they lock it behind plastic. What makes this even more ridiculous is the philosophical contradiction it creates. Nintendo loves to portray themselves as the company that cares about gameplay above all else. They claim to be the ones protecting gaming purity, simplicity, and joy, and yet here they are carving out chunks of basic sensory experience and attaching a pay label to them. Yes, you can earn the music in-game later, but only after beating the game and scanning everything. You can enjoy the soundtrack once you're basically done needing it, or you can pay for the $30 scam. How generous. We're not talking about DLC expansion content, we're not talking about optional side missions, we're talking about core immersion. The atmosphere of a desolated alien desert, intentionally stripped so that a product on a store shelf can sell better. That isn't artistic vision. That isn't creative choice. That is marketing deciding the rules of design, and it's embarrassing. If this was EA, people would riot. If this was Activision, there would be lawsuits tweeted every hour. If Ubisoft did this, the memes would survive for decades. But with Nintendo, too many fans immediately jump into defense mode. They start twisting themselves into pretzels to justify what is openly exploitive. I am tired of seeing companies nickel and diming players, but I'm even more tired of watching audiences cheer them on while they do it. We should never, and I mean never, let a corporation convince us that music in a video game is bonus content. It is part of the art, it is part of the product, it is part of what we paid for. This isn't a tiny detail, it's a warning sign. It's a line drawn in the sand, or in this case drawn in the silent desert, that says if you don't speak up now, we'll push further next time. Next time we'll make you pay $30 just to save your game. We've entered a generation where companies want more money while delivering less. A generation where the base price of a game is just the first handshake before the real transactions begin. A generation where the soundtrack, that thing that should sweep you away, is instead held hostage. I refuse to clap for that. I refuse to normalize that, and if you love gaming, you should refuse too. Now, stepping away from that rant, let's talk calmly and realistically about how Metroid Prime 4 has been received so far. Not the emotional hype, not the outrage, but the measured perspective. The game has landed somewhere in the very good but not amazing category for critics. A lot of reviewers have settled around an 80 to an 81 out of 100. That puts it in a very respectable position, not a flop, not a disappointment in the technical sense, but certainly not a masterpiece that will dominate award seasons. Expectation was a powerful force here. Fans waited well over a decade since the previous mainline Prime entry. They wanted evolution, re-innovation. They wanted the kind of leap that Prime 1 once represented, a redefining moment for the franchise. Instead, critics say Metroid Prime 4 plays it very safe for most of its structure, while experimenting with new features that don't always blend seamlessly with the classic Metroid formula. A lot of praise has been given to its atmosphere, especially indoors, tight corridors, ancient structures, hidden pathways, alien ruins, all the elements that define Metroid exploration as present and executed well. Boss encounters and combat mechanics seem to be a highlight for many, showcasing that retro style of precision and challenge. On the constructive criticism end, some reviewers expressed concerns about pacing in the open environments, particularly the desert section. They feel the large spaces lack density and lose the intense mystery and discovery that Metroid is known for. And yes, there have been mixed feelings about the introduction of more talkative side characters. To some players, this shift moves the franchise away from isolation and silent narrative discovery. To others, it's a breath of fresh air that makes the world feel more alive. The community reaction reflects this divide. Those who wanted a modernized Metroid seem excited about the changes. Those who wanted the original purity of solitude and self-driven interpretation feel a bit conflicted. But across both sides, most people seem to agree that Metroid Prime 4 is solid, enjoyable, and worth playing. Just not quite the generational turning point some hoped it would be. Realistically speaking, it's a strong entry in a beloved franchise with a few divisive choices that landed differently person to person, and that's okay. Not every release has to be a high watermark of history. Sometimes a game just needs to be good, and it seems Metroid Prime 4 is exactly that. Now here's from my first impressions, and here's where I get personal, because unlike some of the lifelong Metroid fans who have been plugged into this series for decades, I'm coming at this almost fresh. I don't have that deep nostalgia or that emotional legacy pushing my expectations in one direction or another. I played, and I mean barely played, about an hour of Metroid Prime Remaster while I was waiting for Chronos: The New Dawn to launch. And since then I never really dove back into it. So this right here is my first real time inside Samus's world, and honestly I'm enjoying myself more than I expected. The characters, I like them. I'm not bothered by the NPC chatter. In fact, I appreciate it, because the last thing I want early on is to spend 30 minutes scanning every panel and rock just to piece together what's going on. The story is presented to me clearly and efficiently, and that helps me feel grounded in what I'm doing. And Miles, the companion character that some people are ripping apart, he doesn't bother me at all. If anything, he gives me a little bit of that claptrap from Borderlands energy. Quirky, a little silly sometimes, gets a chuckle out of me here and there, but without crossing the line where I want to smack him into the nearest wall. I've laughed at him a couple of times already. He brings a bit of levity into a world that could easily feel too serious without him. Now what really surprised me is the visuals. The early trailers didn't fully convince me. I had doubts based on the comparisons I saw online, but actually seeing the game polished up in my own hands, it looks fantastic. Nintendo clearly put extra work into finishing touches, because everything from lighting to textures to animation just brings the universe to life. The atmosphere grabs you and refuses to let go. I haven't made it to that controversial open desert world yet, the one everybody is debating, and honestly, that's where the true test of enjoyment will probably happen. A game like this succeeds or fails based on whether exploration continues to feel engaging once you leave the core introductory environments. I already know the game's not going to be very long, and for a title this anticipated and at $70, that absolutely will weigh on my final review. If the credits roll too quickly and the experience doesn't have a lasting mark, that's something I can't ignore. But even knowing that ahead of time, I'm having a blast right now. And the combat, good lord, the combat. Every encounter feels energized. Enemies don't just stand around waiting to get blasted, they move, they pressure you, they make you think on your feet. Bosses, they hit that sweet spot of challenge and spectacle where I can feel myself tightening up and excitement excitement every time one appears. I'm learning, adapting, and loving every moment I'm in the fight. I'm early into this journey, there's still so much I haven't seen yet, but based on the first few hours, I'm excited to keep going. I'm ready to see what secrets this galaxy is holding back. I'm ready to see whether this adventure maintains its momentum or stumbles when the level design opens up. I'm ready to experience Metroid Prime 4 fully, not as the nostalgic veteran, but as a newcomer discovering what this franchise means for the first time.
And that's it for the video. If you truly enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit the like button, hit the hype button, share it around, and make sure you're subscribed. I post a long video every day, and I also go live Monday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific time, where I react to the saltiest fanboys around. And also, make sure you subscribe because I'm really trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I really need your help. If you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. It's only $1 a month. You'll get special badges, custom emotes, and of course your name shouted at the end of every video. And once that list gets too long, don't worry, I will turn it into a full-on credit roll so everybody gets their chance to shine. Also, don't forget to check out the merch if you want to rep the Vigilante Fire. And as always, until next time guys, stay vigilant.
And now we made it to the end where I have to read off the members of the channel. We got Koros Objective, Maximilian Pegasus 88, Mad Fox 94, Evil Rolio, Oh No Is Justin, Naria, Camaro, C-Stars Piplup, J Wesby 65, Geezer Noob, Dustin 360, That PlayStation Gamer, Steven Ramy, Matthew Buckley, Johnny Bones Jones, Trigger is Groot, Ari Chaos, Blue Moon, Kasaria, Betful Zexel, A1K300, Kawabi Asaria, Starlight Mirror, Crystal Woe, Phoenix Freestar, The More Incredible Grimlock, Ninja Pat, T-Man the Cool, Kyria Lunar, Ronan Reef 90, Shadow Dragons, Brandon Alex, Mr. Krabs, Back Edge, Nightfall Hero Academy, Vega Bard, Switch Addiction, Kiwi Kalaria, Yep That Was Me, Jake Spider Monkey, Dave C, Thomas Ember Breath, Bazaar, The Fat Man. Thank you so much for becoming part of the crew.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're hard.